What is up, guys? Good morning. This is going to be my second vlog that I'm putting out since I've started vlogging again, which started yesterday. But I think it's important that I kind of go back, catch everybody up to what is currently going on in my life, and also why I decided to pick up the vlogging again. The main reason why I wanted to start capturing this content to share with you guys is because, not just because there's a lot that goes on in the course of my day, everybody's busy, but I have grown so much, not just as an athlete, but as an entrepreneur, as a business person, through the experiences that I've had. And I think that a lot of the experiences that I've had can be hopefully very beneficial to you guys, and you can apply that to your life, whether you're wanting to start your own business, maybe you've started a business, maybe you're a female and you're trying to balance the whole work life, mom life, kid life, dogs, everything. And it definitely can be a little bit crazy and hectic at times. And I'm not even telling you that I have it all figured out or that I have all the answers, but what I am saying is that I've had a lot of experiences, and I would love to show you some of the behind the scenes of how my days look, from waking up with the kids to getting them out the door, hopefully on time. If it's on time, that's a good day, that's a win. And managing business, keeping up with my fitness, and how it is all intertwined, and just a part of my brand and what I'm doing in the direction that I'm going. Fast forwarding, or I guess I should say rewinding back about 2 years ago, I had my original gym, American Sled Dogs. I owned and operated that gym for about 3 years. And it got to the point, this is kind of where my narrative kind of changes, because without a doubt I had not every single one, but I had poor leaders that I put in charge that they didn't fit the bill to what I needed as a leader. However, I would like to rephrase that statement and say, at that time, it was like a couple years ago, 2 years ago, I was not the leader that I could have been, that I should have been. And it all came down to communication and clearly stating the specifics on what I wanted in the direction of the business to go. I believe as a leader, I failed to communicate that, and I just assumed putting people in the positions that I put them in, that they would be able to lead and grow the business that I wanted, in the direction that I wanted it to grow, without as much clear communication as I probably should have presented to them. So I think that could have been a little bit different. I ended up closing down American Sled Dogs and making it just a private training facility, just for myself, my friends, my family. And then when the pandemic happened, I decided at that time that I just needed to capitalize, close it down, sell all the equipment. It was really hard for me to come to terms with that, because I felt like, in fact, on the day that it closed and whenever we sold all the equipment, I couldn't even be there. I really felt like there was a part of me, and I just held on to it for so long, and it was just eating, I was paying rent. The rent for that space had gone up substantially in comparison to the first year that I signed on to that space. And it just was, it was a loss. It was a huge loss, and I felt a little bit embarrassed and ashamed, because for me I felt like that I failed at something. I felt like that and I like to say, it was easy to kind of just blame it on, like, I just had poor management. They were letting people in without paying. It's easy to blame other people when really the blame, it should have been on me. I wasn't present as enough as I should have been. And closing it down was extremely difficult, and I sold most of the equipment. In fact, this is some exclusive information. I sold the equipment. I made around $30,000 from the equipment that I sold. The landlord made me pay him back $25,000 to $30,000 in fees to rebuild a wall and put back a fireplace that was there. A lot of just detailed things. So I thought it was going to be a win, because it's like, I'm just going to take this money, turn it into something good, something positive. I ended up having to use that money to go back into the building that we tore down walls, construction. I had to put all that back. A lesson to be learned: don't put money into buildings that you don't own. And whenever you guys sign contracts, those of you who are wanting to start a new business, okay, and you're renting, you're focusing on overhead, trying to get your overhead low, make sure you understand exactly what is in your contract. This was the second time that I dumped money, liquid funds, into a building that I didn't own. It cost money to take the walls down. It cost money to make the changes in the unit that I wanted to change. And it also cost money to put it back the way it was whenever I left. That was in my contract. He wasn't wrong. Again, comes back to me. Shame on me for not understanding my contract. And I highly, highly recommend that you guys, if you're wanting to start a business and you're wanting to start a lease and rent a place, have somebody who can navigate through those contracts, go through that with you, and in layman's terms, spell it out for you so you know exactly what you're getting into. Shut the gym down. I ate that. I took basically one of everything and I either put it in storage or I moved it to the sandbox, which if you guys follow along on my social media, you saw the sandbox. So now fast forwarding, I found another space. It was a beautiful space that I fell in love with the moment that I saw it. And whenever I first saw the space, I needed to move my screen printing shop to this space. It's about 6,000 square feet. But I also wanted to move American Brew there as well. So sign the papers. I was very, I wasn't specific on, whenever I signed the contract, what I was going to use this space for. And I had these dreams and aspirations. It's an old empty warehouse, okay? It's very old, very old. It's gutted. It's industrial. It's moody. It has it's beautiful light, white brick. And whenever I went into the space, I originally thought that I wanted to put an American Brew there. This is in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of inflation, in the middle of like not having any employees. If you're a business owner, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I started down this path and this journey of opening up another American Brew, again in a space that I don't own yet. I have first right of refusal. Right now, the entire building is going for a little over $2 million to buy the entire thing. And I made sure that was in my contract. I didn't want to purchase it right now because there's a couple other reasons. We can get into that later. But I started going down the exact same path that I had been down before. This building that I'm in right now, I don't own it, right? So I would be dumping this money into a building that I don't own. I'm talking about piping, building out a brand new kitchen. I mean, you have the hood, all of it. And I think I got like a month into it and I was just like, Ashley, what are you doing? Construction costs are out the roof. Labor costs are out the roof. Employees are so hard to come by right now. And so I had to pivot. I had to pivot what I initially thought was a great idea because I was probably acting on emotions. And I set on that after I signed the contract, everything. And I was literally like, Ashley, like, what the hell did you just do? You got yourself into a 5-year lease. You have first right of refusal to purchase that, but that's not going to be in 5 years. And so I pivoted. That is where the second generation of American Sled Dogs comes into play. And right now, the training facility where you are seeing the vlogs being captured and shot are at the new American Sled Dogs, and is not open to the public. And I have yet to decide if I'm going to open up this facility to the public or how I'm going to pivot that. If I end up purchasing the building in 5 years, I'd invest and build out a restaurant, perhaps, or make it a roastery or something. It's such a cool area. And there's something, I'm really drawn to buildings that are kind of ran down, a little bit rough, and I love to refurbish them. I love it. That's what I did to American Brew down on Shore Drive. I purchased that building. It was an ugly building. In fact, I remember driving by the building where American Brew is now and thinking like, wow, that's so ugly, but it has so much potential. I love doing that. So if American Brew never goes into that space, I have learned one thing that's very, very valuable. And if you are in the restaurant business, maybe you already know this. And if you're new in the restaurant business, this is very important. If I open up another American Brew that's not in the location that American Sled Dogs is in right now, I will only be exploring second generation restaurants to lease out or even to buy, which means second generation restaurants or second generation buildings. It means that there was already a restaurant in there before. So you think like the construction that you have to do, like everything was basically in place. You just have to kind of conform it to whatever, however it'll meet your business. Or I have to make sure that I own it. So those are the two things. Anyways, I am headed into American Sled Dogs right now, and I've been sick all week, and I think today, I've been sick for it's been 6 days. I've been pretty sick. Today is the first day that I actually feel pretty good, and I think I'm going to do a workout. I don't know if you've been there before, but it's like you haven't worked out for so long, you basically could train any body part that you want. So I'm going to figure out, I'm going to kind of get warmed up, see how I feel, settle on a workout, and then I'm gonna train. Maybe I'll take you guys along for the ride. And then I have some really important meetings later today, and it's Friday. Might have some tacos and tequila because it's Friday. Catch you guys later.